Well, hello everyone, and this is Brian. It's time for some more stories, and these are probably some of the best I have ever shared with you. Let's begin. Let's not waste any more time. Now, my daughter is inviting her stepfather and his affair partner he left me for to her wedding and says I can choose not to attend if I'm not happy, but I'm paying for that wedding. So let's get into this story. It's unbelievable. I raised both my children mostly on my own, and their biological father was hooked and took too much when they were very young. However, from 2010 to 2013, I was married to my now ex-husband, Josh. I didn't realize until after we got married what kind of person he really was. He was nice to the kids, sure, but he was grumpy and emotionally distant all the time to me. That he cheated on me. So that was the nail on the coffin. We got officially divorced, and within 2 months, he was living with the woman he cheated on. And now we have a kid together, and she's 5 months pregnant. And my daughter was 11 when we got together, 14 when we broke up, and now she's 24. She kept in semi-contact with Josh, and then when she was in late high school, we had some problems between the two of us. She got even closer to him. Now, I do not interfere with her relationships with Josh and his wife, but I just don't want to hear about it. And I know that they've all done a few birthday dinners for her over the years and a small engagement party with members of their family, but she doesn't really talk about it. And I'm giving her $15,000. Now, her college was $15,000 cheaper than her brother's, so I've been telling her for years that I'll be giving her the $15,000 difference and she can use it for a wedding. She has her own money as well, and she sat me down and told me that she wanted Josh and his side of the family to be invited to the wedding. Not just Josh and his wife, but their kids and other members of his family. Now, she even wanted him to do a reading at the ceremony. I felt like I'd been slapped in the face. I can't imagine what kind of reading he'd even do. I said I wasn't comfortable with that and reminded her that I was paying. She said I was going to have to deal with it. Things got heated, and I told her that I'd raised her for years and deserved better than that. Now, she told me again to take it or leave it. I truly am considering skipping the wedding. I don't have much family, so the idea of it being me and a few others while Josh and his larger family sits behind us just seems awful. My son called her yesterday to try to talk her out of it, and she said he thinks she's getting money from Josh, so I feel betrayed and hurt. Okay, so here's some advice from some other people. Not the a-hole. She shouldn't take the $15,000 if she's going to disrespect you like that. These comments aren't very fair in my opinion. She knows you never want to see him, so she kind of chose him over you in a way. She decided that you would either sit through it miserably or skip on it, which is pretty much messed up. If it's so important to her that they come, she shouldn't have accepted the $15,000. Here's another comment. You're not the a-hole. She can have him there if she wants. That's her right. But it's also your right not to attend the wedding if it's going to cause you mental harm. Okay, so then another comment. He had a relationship with the original poster for 3 years, but it seems that he has been a stepfather for original poster's daughter for 13 years, and then he cheated on the original poster, and the relationship didn't work, but it seems that he has been a good father figure for the original poster's daughter for years and has been there for her during difficult times. Now, she's not asking for a stranger to be at her wedding. She's asking for the only father figure she ever had and the person she has an active and strong relationship with. So what do you think? Okay, guys, this next story up here. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister I told you so after she announced to the family her husband was divorcing her? Okay, so let's take a look at this post. So I'm a 21-year-old female. I have a sister named Lisa. She's older. She's 27. My sister has, in my eyes, an unhealthy obsession to make everything in her house fit her aesthetic. So no colorful colors except different shades of brown and gray and white. She throws away anything that doesn't fit into her aesthetic, including her 2-year-old daughter, Maya, toys, and her husband, 29-year-old Mark's clothes. Now, I've told my sister several times she needs to stop this before she does something to push Mark over the edge. She told me to shut up because she knows her man so well. Now, Lisa has a history of throwing away gifts, gift bags included, if it's not in her style. Now, what pushed Mark to finally stand up and leave Lisa was when his elderly mother, whose hobby is knitting, gifted both Mark and Maya a colorful sweater she knitted herself that took a long time to make. Lisa did not like this, so behind Mark's back, she threw them away away. Now, when Mark learned about this, he told her he was done and demanded a divorce. Lisa called my parents to tell them the news. And I said, "I told you so" on that call. She cussed me out and then hung up on me. My mom said I could have been more sympathetic, and my dad agreed with her. So Reddit, am I the a-hole? Okay, let me address a few things here since there are too many comments. Number one, my parents aren't bad people. They don't play favorites, and they don't like Lisa Aesthetics lifestyle either. They're only lending a shoulder to cry on because she's getting a divorce and Mark kicked her out. Number two, Lisa is now living here since Mark has now kicked her out. And number three, Lisa's behavior started when she joined college. Now, the fourth remark I want to make is when we asked her to seek therapy or help because of her behavior, she screams she's not mental, and she calls us stupid, gives us the cold shoulder. And finally, number five, she only allows grays, browns, a select shades of white and black. So, for those asking, no, Lisa can't get the sweaters back. She threw them into a random dumpster, and when she went back for them, they were already gone. And no, I don't think Mark's mom can make another one. It took her over a year to knit two of them. She's already in her late 60s. She has arthritis and used expensive yarn. And I'll update you when something happens. Oh, here's an update. So yeah, I'm back, and I didn't expect to be back so soon. So long story short, my sister got arrested for attacking her soon-to-be ex-husband, Mark, and his mother after getting served with divorce papers. Now, after Lisa was served with divorce papers at her workplace on Friday, Lisa started drinking and crying a lot and spent the entire weekend drinking and crying and kept repeatedly calling Mark. So last night, she took an Uber to Mark's home and begged him to reconsider the divorce. Of course, this is the story that I got from Mark. And he said no. And she started insulting him and hitting him. Then when his mom tried to push her away from Mark, his sister attacked Mark's mom. Mark called the police. Now, my sister was arrested with a $6,000 bail that none of us are paying. Mark got bit and has scratch marks, and his mom has a black eye. I'll update when more details come out. So this next story, guys, this is Brian, and I told you these are some pretty crazy stories. Would I be the a-hole if I tell my friend her bridesmaid won't be throwing her an extensive bachelorette party if we aren't invited to the wedding? So here's the story on this. I'm a 27-year-old female, and my friend is Jane. She's 28. Jane and her fiance, Brad, who's 29, recently got engaged. Now, Jane is one of my best friends, and we have known each other since college. When talking about our future weddings, Jane has always expressed that she wants me and a handful of our other closest friends to be her bridesmaid and to have a destination wedding. And when I saw Jane and Brad the day they got engaged, one of the first things Jane said to me was how excited she was for me and our other friends to be her bridesmaids. This was about a month ago. However, now that Jane and Brad have started looking at wedding plans, they've decided to have a tiny destination wedding in Colorado, and only immediate family will be invited to save money. Now, they also plan on having a casual party for all the rest of their family and friends after, but there will be no ceremony or sit-down dinner, and there will be very clearly not a second wedding. Even though I was disappointed and hurt to hear that I would not be invited to the actual wedding, I understand that it's their right to have whatever kind of wedding they want, and if it's not important to her that her best friends be there, then that's her choice. But what irked me is that Jane still expects a bridal shower, a long weekend trip to an expensive destination for her bachelorette party, and mentioned a registry for wedding gifts. Now, I find it a bit ridiculous that she still expects to have these things thrown by and presumably paid for by people that aren't even invited to her actual wedding, right? Still insist on calling us her bridesmaids, but since we'll not be present at the wedding, have no special designation at the party, I don't see how we actually are. Our friends are a bit split on what to do about this. Some want to confront her about this. Some thinks that would be an a-hole move. So would I be the a-hole for telling Jane that if she's not having a traditional wedding, she can't expect traditional wedding benefits? Okay, so let's give you an update. I think a few people are misunderstanding my point here. I'm not saying I don't want to celebrate her at all, or that she shouldn't get anything outside of her wedding. What's bothering me is her stated expectation of a big shower and a big bachelorette trip. She explicitly said she wants to go to Scottsdale. Now, we're in Tennessee, so this requires a flight. Without an invitation to the wedding, she could throw any kind of backyard, courthouse, big, small, whatever wedding, and I'll be happy to do all the above as long as I was actually invited. What do you guys think? Guys, this is Brian. This next story up is another good one. I said these were all pretty crazy. So, am I the a-hole for telling my niece that I will not pay for a $5,000 wedding dress when her and her boyfriend have lived together for 10 years and already have 3 kids? Now, let me give you a little background. My husband's niece lost her parents when she was about 11. She lived part of her year with us and part of the year with grandparents from her dad's side. One day, not long after the funeral, she came out of the blue saying she'll not have anyone to take her wedding dress shopping or buy her one when she grows up. I told her not to worry, that between Grandma Jay and us, she won't be alone and have a pretty dress. Now, of course, when she graduated high school, she said she was never going to get married. She met her boyfriend in college, they moved in together, and when she became pregnant, she quit school. Now, this, of course, disappointed her grandparents, and even more so after she told them they were not getting married just because of a baby. Now, speed up 10 years and 2 more children. She and her boyfriend came over and announced they are finally going to get married. Now, at first, thought a courthouse thing or even an intimate family gathering. She then came right out and said, "Do you remember when I was 11 or so, right after Mom and Dad died, you said between you and Grandma you'd find me a dress?" I replied, "Yes." She then showed me 2 dresses from a magazine. One was around $7,500 and the other was $4,960. She then said we could get her one of these too. She then said since her grandmother was also gone, if I was also willing to help with not just the dress, but some of their $29,000 other costs. I told her that when I said that I would help, it meant go with you to find one and contribute. Also, it was assuming you were not playing married for 10 years before deciding to actually get married. I'm not against you having a wedding after all this time, but you've had many years to save up as well as having pretty much been living like a married couple. Something simple would be more appropriate. I offered to take her to a local bridal salon and put up to $1,500 towards one. I even brought up their site and showed her all but which they had, but 2 were under $1,600. I also reminded her that the money she had from her parents' trust that was set aside for college and wedding, she used to buy her boyfriend a car. She got mad and said her kids will hate her for not having one of those dresses. The kids are 9, 6, and 2. I've not heard from her since. Now, we are on Social Security and barely making it now, and I know things cost more these days, but I have seen many dresses even less than what I offered. I feel that she should have saved, whether on their own or her inheritance. Am I wrong for not helping fund the wedding after all these years? Okay, here's an update. Thanks for all the responses, both good and bad. Now, my husband ran into her boyfriend, Mike, at the gas station. He asked him about the wedding and her demands. Mike said they're pretty content with the way things were because they considered themselves soulmates all these years, minus the certificate. Then their oldest was getting teased that her mom and dad were not married, so we're not a real mommy and daddy. Even though they tried to assure her and did speak with the school and bully's parent, her daughter was crushed. They then discussed going to the courthouse and getting married so they have the paper. She then thought after some program that they could have a nice wedding. Mike said he suggested just getting the kids dressed up and could get a nice white dress, nothing too much. Doesn't exactly know what, but all of a sudden, she was talking like a wedding planner person. The 2 little girls found dresses from Mom in a magazine. She told her he was not putting that much into the clothes for less than a couple hours being worn. Then a friend from high school visited them and told her how much was gotten for the sale of her parents' house. Her dad was the agent. From then on, she was obsessed with thinking she had more coming to her. My husband explained it to him. He felt horrible, I guess. He said he appreciated the offer, but she was no longer our responsibility. She is his. And I feel a bit better.